Happy Pride Month! Let's talk about Reo Mikage. Reo is a character from the football anime/manga Blue Lock who proves that yes, you can be gay and do sports. From Reo's introduction into the series, we see that he has a particularly close relationship with his teammate, Nagi. Not only does Reo refer to Nagi as his treasure, but they are also shown to be extremely physically close as well. Reo gives Nagi piggyback rides, feeds him, massages him, allows him to skip practice. It's clear that Reo has a very heavy preference towards Nagi in comparison to all of his other teammates. This is only emphasized through Nagi and Reo's backstory. See, the thing is, Reo is the child of millionaires. Reo is remarked to be good at everything, popular, and so on, and yet despite this, Reo has taken on this almost caregiver type role with Nagi. It's rare that you see characters that are almost defined by their wealth be so physically caring with others. Usually these characters are more gaudy, uncaring, just whatever about things, but with Reo, it is completely different. In fact, we're almost shown that he is trying to escape his wealthy origins as opposed to embrace them fully. We're made to see how Reo abandons the stereotype for Nagi, basically. I mean, that being said, we don't really see much of Reo before he meets Nagi, but we see that he kind of does everything. He's popular, he's attractive. Like, when he meets Nagi, his entire worldview completely changes and it becomes recentered around Nagi. In high school, Reo decided that he wanted to win the World Cup and become a football player, and this dream was quickly shut down by his parents, who were like, yeah, you can't do that. You're not gonna be able to do that. Basically tell him that, like, he's going to become a businessman, he's gonna take over their corporation, which is not what Reo wants to do. But remember, he is a character who has gotten everything that he's ever wanted, and yet this one thing that he wants, his parents are now saying no to. So now he's being cut off from this dream, and it's jarring for him. He's never had that experience before, and that makes him even more determined to have it. I lost the audio on the actual clip where I was talking about this, so I'm just gonna summarize it. Basically, he had everything handed to him on a silver platter, and then he grew bored of that, he grew bored of the ease of that, and kind of just like automatically getting everything he wanted. At least that's how I interpreted it. And the World Cup was something that he would have to like work towards and stuff, and one of the bigger things that is emphasized with his character is the idea of hard work and how he's actually working towards his goals now, not necessarily that he wants everything just like handed to him easily, if that makes sense. He wanted something from his own independence and hard work, basically. It's more nuanced than that, but I'm not gonna re-record it. So this is when he meets Nagi. Nagi was a natural talent like no other, doing this upon their first meeting. Oh,
ごめん。うまっ。ナイストラップ。
I'm not gonna lie to you, I would be enamored too if I saw that. Upon seeing this, Reo recognizes Nagi's natural talent and realizes that he is the kind of person who was born to become a football player, who can win the World Cup. He has the ability to, because if he's like this without doing any sort of football, any sort of sports, imagine what he could do with training. So Reo basically insists that Nagi joins their football team. Nagi says no, so Reo keeps pestering about it over and over again until eventually Nagi does agree. With Nagi by his side, Reo actually has the ability to achieve his dreams now. If he has someone like that with him, of course they might be able to win. Alternatively, I will say, I think Nagi was just interested in being with Reo, but I digress. That's for another time. Over time, Reo becomes more and more, no shade, obsessed with Nagi, putting in an almost obsessive amount of effort to make Nagi the best player that he can be. Even when Nagi complains, Reo pushes him further, determined by his dream to win the World Cup with Nagi. Yes, now that dream has been redefined. It's not just about him, it's about the two of them. He is determined for the two of them to succeed together because now his dream is almost synonymous with Nagi. As Nagi and Reo's relationship develops, we can see moments of Reo's codependency begin to leak into this dynamic. Reo becomes very, very attached with Nagi, and I'm only talking about Reo right now, but I will say the same thing happened with Nagi. It was just in a different format, but again, for another time. But we more obviously see Reo become attached with Nagi. Nagi just shows it in a different way. Reo begins to base his own worth on this dynamic with Nagi out of this almost obsessive love that he has for him. Nagi is someone he has done nearly everything for, someone that for him is synonymous with Reo's dream. Reo's dream can only be achieved with Nagi, at least that's how Reo feels about it, and therefore Nagi himself is Reo's dream. This of course continues on when they get into the Blue Lock program, with Nagi's natural talent being able to carry them through all of these trials and tribulations. And then the rapture happens.
俺が潔のチームに入る。え？は？それならいいでしょ。
So, Blue Lock spoilers, when Nagi ends up leaving Reo, Reo completely breaks down. He loses sight of his own value outside of Nagi and questions why Nagi would leave him, especially after all that Reo has done for him. Reo was someone who gave up almost everything to promote Nagi, to make Nagi better, to fight for this dream with Nagi. In fact, Nagi made Reo promise that Reo would never leave him. So now Reo is feeling abandoned and confused because why would Nagi leave him? After all of this, why would Nagi lie to him? Why would Nagi abandon their dream like this? Did he do all of that for nothing? Just to put this out here, this entire sequence and this entire plot line is incredibly reminiscent of a breakup. Like, we get scenes like this.
凪は戻ってくる。凪は戻ってこない。凪は戻ってくる。レオ。凪は戻ってこない。凪は戻ってくる。
It's clearly meant to mirror a romantic breakup. Like, it's sort of undeniable at this point. Little does Reo know, due to Nagi's lack of communication, but Nagi is doing this for Reo. He's trying to better himself so that they can achieve their dreams, but Reo is not aware of this because Nagi is not communicating that to him directly. Reo is forced to improve himself in spite of Nagi and this betrayal he feels, working through this foreign feeling of having your very dream itself leave you behind. That's all I'm going to cover with these two right now, because there is a lot between them, including all the manga stuff that I have not even talked about yet. So if you want a YouTube video analyzing their relationship, let me know. I will do a more in-depth talk about it. But I do think that Reo is such an interesting character in terms of representing these ideas of codependency and wealth, and the idea of greed as it reflects on characters. The idea of possession and having something that you feel as though solely belongs to you, but when it comes to a person, obviously there are different factors that come into that, and how Reo almost feels as though it's so interesting. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Comment your thoughts down below, and I will see you in the next one. Comment who I should do next.